Hi, welcome to this mini oracle card reading. Today I am divining through this oracle flip deck that I've created. So it's just a combination of 11 oracle cards from the Work Your Light oracle deck and some just little crafty bits that I've put in between the cards. And I use all of this to divine with, and I'm using this today just for a short message from Spirit. The Spirit wants you to hear at this time. So I'm just going to randomly choose a card where I feel like I'm being called to stop, and we'll see what comes through. Okay, so we've got this rose here that says throw kindness around like confetti, and then behind that this oracle card that has a couple things here. We've got trust and inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. So let's see, we've got a lot here. So what I feel like Spirit is wanting to share with you today is really coming into yourself and really tuning into your own heart and finding that place within you that kindness originates. I'm getting this sense that right now it's really difficult to sort of find that place in your heart, not because it's not who you are. It very much is. You're someone who is very kind and loving, but you're being challenged at this time in some way to really you feel like you have to dig deep to find that part of you that is kind. And I hope I express this well enough, because it's not that you aren't a kind person. That is very much exactly who you are. But like I said, there's something that's challenging you right now that's making it really kind of difficult. There's something here with trust, and maybe your trust has been broken and it's really hard to open back up. And Spirit is calling you to go back into that part of you that never ever goes away, that never changes, that part of you that is kind and compassionate and loving. And Spirit is saying to get to that space, and don't feel like you can't, let's see, how do I want to say this? I can totally feel this energy, and it's really hard to express. It's don't be afraid to, like this phrase says right here, throw kindness around like confetti. So like confetti is very light, right? And you kind of, if you throw it up in the air, you don't control where it lands. And Spirit is saying not to try to control where you apply your kindness and your love. It's about this unconditional love the Spirit is asking you to tap into, and that love and kindness and expressions of that don't have to be dependent on what is going on externally to you, and to just throw it around with wild abandon, not to limit yourself to who receives your love, who receives your compassion, your kindness, your empathy. And this is just something in general that we are really being asked to do more of now, because it is so difficult. It's even more difficult now. And if we go by what's going on in the world and, what we're seeing around us, and there's so much division and people feeling like they're pitted against one another. And if we use that as our barometer for who is deserving of our love, then there's less love on the planet overall when that happens. And Spirit is really calling us to dig deep, right? To go into this inner temple and trust that you can love and you're not going to be hurt when you love, even when it's difficult. that your love is not going to go unnoticed by spirit, and not in a way of like they're judging, but just that it just makes such a huge difference on our planet to get into that space where you're loving no matter what, is basically the message here. Loving no matter what, without conditions, and really tapping into and trusting in the power of that. And it really calls for you to, spend time alone, this inner temple and devotion, like spending time in solitude, where you really get back in touch with your own energy, your own source of love. And that well of love is never ending, because it's the source, or it's the connection to source that is the wellspring of love that you draw from. And that is never ending. And you don't have to rely on your feelings, Spirit is saying, and like how you feel in order to be this like beacon of kindness, is what I'm hearing. Like you don't have to just rely on your own like emotional well to draw from for, those feelings of or expressions of love and kindness and empathy and compassion and all of that. Draw on that inner temple source for love, because that is that unconditional, never-ending source that you have access to. You just have to get quiet and get into stillness and into that really deep part of you that is in touch with that source of unconditional love. All right, so that is today's message that Spirit wanted to bring to you. I hope that resonated with you. If it did, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking and sharing and all of that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you really soon.